Continuing standard 17 with skills 3 and 4. Skill 3 is special lines. This can count as your level 1, your level 2, or your level 3 or 4. It doesn't really matter. In order to pass, you have to get one of the skills correct. 2 of the skills get you a 2, 3 of the skills get you a 3, and all 4 gets you a 4. So skill number 3 is when the lines are special, meaning if they are straight up and down like this one is, or if they are right to left horizontal like this one. Okay, so if we count and talk about rise over right, or rise over run, and you look at these 2 points here, if I rise from this one to the top one, I rise 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. So I go up 4 blocks. But how much did you go over? I didn't go over any blocks, okay? Now we're going to leave that just for a second and come back to talk about that. Whereas over here, there's no dots on the line, but I can easily put some dots on the line. So maybe I'll put a dot right there, a dot right there. So now these 2 dots, I'm going to count the slope between these 2 dots. If I count from here to here, did I go up any? No, I went up 0. My rise was 0, but my run was 2. So let's talk about the difference between those 2 lines. Because when you do your 2 lines, your slope is either 0 or it's undefined. So let's talk about that. So if you don't have a slope, that means you don't have a tilt at all. So slope is just how much your line is tilting. So since this line is not tilting at all, it actually has a 0 slope. And if you type this into your calculator, 0 divided by 2 is in fact 0. So that makes sense. When we reduce this over here, if you type this into your calculator, how do you spread $4 between 0 people? It's not something we really have a number for, and it's definitely not 0. And this line right here has such steep slope that it's actually undefined. So this is our undefined. We can't divide by 0, so this is an undefined slope. And when you take the test or quiz, if you just write UND, that is sufficient. You don't have to worry about spelling it correctly or not spelling it correctly. Okay? All right, let's slide down here and let's try it in 2 coordinates form. So we'll put my X and my Y and then my X1 and my Y1. Put your 1 and your 1, 2, and 2 there. And we'll use that formula. That formula meaning starting back here at that -4 minus the other Y value, which is 8, over -1 minus the other -1. It's really easy to see that minus sign and think that there's already a negative there, so I don't have to write the negative, but actually both of them need to be there. -4 minus 8 is -12. This ends up being a plus when you have those 2 negatives next to each other. So -1 plus 1 is 0. So that 0 on the bottom is undefined. So you can write UND or you can write out the whole word. And if you don't write that, it doesn't count because the scale says I can find the slope and determine if it is a 0 or undefined slope. So that's kind of the difference between the two. 2 minus 2, if I'm going to do this one here, 2 minus 2 over, and then we'll go 4 minus 9. So 0 on the top. 4 minus 9 is -5. 0 divided by -5, if I type that into my calculator, that answer is 0. Okay, and I leave that as 0. I have to simplify and make that a 0. I have to simplify this and write that the slope is undefined. If that's kind of hard for you to understand or remember, here is some little kind of cheats, I guess. If the 0 is on the bottom, that is not okay. So that equals undefined. If the 0 is on the top, that is okay to have a 0 on the top, and so our slope is 0. So just kind of some kind of little cheat sheets there to figure out what the difference is between 0 and undefined. Okay, if we turn the page here, there are some practice problems, so this is a good time to pause the video and do your practice problems on page 8 before continuing on to skill 4 on page 9. I'm going to go ahead and continue on to skill 4. And skill 4 is determining slope from a situation or a story problem, if you will. Okay, the first thing I want to write up here is that, just so you know, just to kind of give you a heads up, x, for most of these problems, is going to be some form of time. Okay, time is always independent. So if time is in the problem, you're going to write that number first in your XY coordinates. So here when I have 2 hours and 4.5 gallons, when I write that into my coordinates, my hours, which is time, is going to go in the first slot. The water evaporates from a swimming pool on a hot day. After 2 hours, 4.5 gallons has evaporated. After 3 hours, 13.5 gallons have evaporated. Now notice right here it's asking you to find the rate of change, which is just alluding to the fact that this rate of change may not be constant. Okay, it might get cooler throughout the day, and maybe it was cooler at the beginning of the day, whatever may be. So that rate of change is not a constant rate of change, so don't use your rate of change to kind of work backwards to figure out how much it was at 1 hour or how much it was at 0 hours. You can use it as a predictor, but sometimes that predictor isn't always the best. Okay, so the rate of change. I'm going to start here at my last one. So this is my y2, so I'll go 13.5 minus 4.5 over 3 minus 2 Okay, so when we take and we grab our calculators and we type that in, 13.5 minus 4.5 gives you 9. 3 minus 2 gives you 1. Okay, that's not all though. That's half of the problem. It's half the battle. The other part says explain what the rate of change means. Okay, so the numbers I have up here on the top, those numbers were numbers that represented gallons. So even after I subtract them, my number still represents gallons. The numbers on the bottom here represented hours. So this is an hour number. Okay, so my explanation is that 9 gallons evaporate per hour, per 1 hour, or for every 1 hour. So I'm just putting labels on the numbers to give it context. Okay, let's try that again. It's a little bit different. Adding that little piece in that we have to do that sentence of explanation. A local arcade decides to change things up and charge you for the number of hours instead of each game. The first person goes to pay and they are charged $21.75 for 1.5 hours. Okay, now again, time needs to be first when you write it down in the coordinate. So even though this 21.75 came first, the 1.5 is going to go first in my coordinate because it's time. Okay, and then my second person or my second situation is that for 3 hours they paid $43.50. So I'm going to go ahead and do my slope there. I'll subtract y minus y over x minus x. subtract my money numbers over. Now, these are money, kind of reminding ourselves that because we know what we're going to have to do later. And then this was the number of hours. So 3 hours minus 1.5 hours. I'll grab my trusty calculator and subtract. That actually gave you 21.75. 3 minus 1.5 is 1.5. So the last little piece here is that we're going to go ahead and divide these numbers. So if they don't come out with a 1 on the bottom, we're going to go ahead and divide them. Now the top one, we didn't have to do that because it was already in 1 hour increments. So the last step we're going to do is we're going to divide. And what that's going to do is give us, so this would be 14.5 over 1 when I divide those two numbers together. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to get a amount for 1 hour, okay, which is probably the rate they charge. They probably charge $14.50 per hour. And that's exactly what I'm going to write here. The arcade charges $14.50 per hour. Okay, we're going to do one more, and the reason we're going to do one more is because it doesn't have that time aspect. Okay, so you're at a gym working on your free throw shooting skills. After 45 attempts, you make 30. Okay, so the attempts, the 45 attempts, that is going to be our first X value. After 45 attempts, you made 30. Okay, this is your made. These are your attempts. Okay, and I just put that there for myself so that when I go to the next one, I make sure to line them up the same. After 73 attempts, you made 42 free throws. And then we'll go ahead and do that subtraction. Story problems are really the reason that we do y2 minus y1, because in real situations, if you do the second one minus the first one, it usually comes out as a positive number. Okay, and then we don't have to worry about any negatives or, in fact, double negatives. So if I go 42 minus 30, 73 minus 45, $12 on the top, 28 on the bottom. And when you divide this, okay, right, we said we wanted to divide. When we divide this, it actually is going to give you a decimal number, okay, which is not great. We don't like decimal numbers all that well, and I'm going to just round it. So it would be 0.43 if I rounded it. So what this is saying to us, and the reason that we divide it like this, is it's saying that you are a 43% free throw shooter. That's what that's saying. Now, if that one you don't really like it and you don't really understand that being a decimal, if we reduce this instead, so this is a 43 are made for every 100 shot. That's what that percentage is for, and that's what a lot of statisticians use. But if we just wanted to reduce it instead, if that makes more sense, that's fine as well. If I reduce this by 4, I get a 3 on the top. Reduce this by 4, I get a 7 on the bottom. So you could say for every 7 attempts, you make 3 of them. That's another way to do it. So you're a 43% free throw shooter, meaning that you make 43% for every 100 that you shoot, or you make 43 for every 100 you shoot. Or you could write out here, so this is kind of for those who are like baseball statisticians or you like those, that would be great. But if you like this better, for everybody who's maybe not a sports fan, that one makes